Almaviva was created in '97 as a French-Chilean joint venture between Baron Philippe de Rothschild, that owns, among others, Chateau Mouton Rothschild, the first growth of Bordeaux, and Viña Concha y Toro, the most important actor of the wine industry in Chile, with the aim of producing the unique wine under the classical French chateau concept.
The French sides bring all the know-how how to produce these high-end wines. The Chilean sides, they bring this great terroir we have here in Puente Alto. Puente Alto is a special spot in the Maipo Valley at the foot of the Andes, with probably one of the best conditions to grow Cabernet Sauvignon. So we have the raw material, and they have the knowledge how to produce and manage this kind of projects.
Probably at the beginning of the 90s, Concha y Toro was looking for producing a new wine that could cross the frontiers all over the world. And on the other side, the Baroness Philippine de Rothschild was also looking for producing the new joint venture, following the step of his father that created Opus One in '79. And they both found in each other the real spirit of family, the real spirit of traditions, and the unique patience to always look for the best.
Our winemaker, Michel Friou, he's French, of course, and this is one of the special things that we have in this project, because Baron Philippe de Rothschild is bringing us all the technical advisor. So one of the agreements at the beginning was to have one winemaker coming from Baron Philippe de Rothschild. So Michel came on board on 2007. Michel is a great winemaker, so I leave him totally free doing his winemaking. The result has been very good, because we have been already working for several years in perfect conditions, and the results you can find in the bottles.
The process starts in the vineyard with all the grapes harvested by hand in small cases of 9-10 kilos. Once the harvest done in the vineyards, all the grapes are moved quickly to the winery, where they are processed the same day in the long sorting process, where we have normally between 20-25 persons that will do different steps of sorting. First at the level of the bunches, where they will remove the leaves that have been left in the cases, remove the bunches that can be dried or that can be not as blue color as required. Then the grapes are destemmed. That means that the berries are separated from the stems. Then they go through an optical selection. And after this process of optical selection that will put aside the part of the berries that we don't want to use, the last table of selection, where 5, 6, 7 person will finish the sorting, removing the last part of a small stem that have been cut by the machines, or some berries that are not suitable and that we want to remove. So it's the final fine-tuning to finally put in the tank just the berries we want, in order to look like a real caviar in the tank.
The blending experience for me is very interesting, because it's a long process. Michel has a lot of work with his team, preparing all the possibilities for the final blend. And when he finds the right tuning for the wine, he presented to me in order to have my impression about what is the harvest offering. Always is a surprise, because he came with a perfect blending every year.
What is probably very special about Almaviva is these great combinations of ripeness and freshness, with ripe fruits of red berries like cassis, and always supported by a good acidity and good freshness, and all this in a very elegant style and then length and finesse.
This is a wine coming from the new world, but with all the experience of the old world. Almaviva is the magic result of the happy encounter of Baron Philippe de Rothschild family and the Conchitoros family. And this is why it's so unique.
The precise translation of Almaviva in English is living soul. Being French and living in Chile for more than 20 years, I really love these two countries, the culture, the traditions, and I'm really convinced that Almaviva can transmit to the consumer the best these two countries can offer, this common living soul of Chile and France.
Since 1827, my family has been producing wine and spirits in France. But 25 years ago, my mother was looking for the perfect terroir to produce one of the best wine in the world. After traveling around the world, she finally found it in Apalta, 40 hectares of pre-phylloxeric vineyards planted 100 years ago, a unique jewel that is part of the fine wine industry. She called Michel Rolland, said, "We found the perfect terroir, let's do the perfect wine." Jacques Bégary, our winemaker, has been working for the best Grand Cru Classé of Bordeaux. But in 2005, when Michel Rolland called him and said, "I have a challenge for you, creating the first growth of Chile," he came for 6 months, but stayed for 15 years. Since then, I've been working with him closely. We share our passion, our doubts, our success, our tears, our fears, but also our pleasure of drinking wine.
Michel Rolland, à la demande des propriétaires, est venu travailler pour conduire cette aventure de Clos Apalta. C'est le meilleur. Donc pour faire le meilleur vin du monde, il faut avoir le meilleur. Comme je le connaissais depuis 35 ans, quand il a eu besoin de quelqu'un pour le seconder dans cette aventure, il m'a demandé de venir et ça fait 15 ans que nous travaillons ensemble et que nous nous retrouvons sur ce projet.
The blending process is the pinnacle of the winemaking. It's when everything comes together to create a vision, to create the wine. So when Jacques and I are blending, you have to think that we're painting. Each samples we have in front of us, which is actually the reflection of any places we have from the vineyards, are colors. We have different arrays of red. Each varietal is a color. Together, they're going to create something that is bigger than the singularity of their color. And that's what Clos Apalta is. The blending process is to create a beautiful image that will transmit a feeling to the people that will be not watching it, but drinking it. The first sensation you'll get when you drink Clos Apalta is smoothness. The Carmenère will give you this amazing velvetyness and the depth that is unmistakably Clos Apalta. The Cabernet, elegance, structure, the backbone of the wine. But then the Merlot will give you the fruit, the red berries, and the Petit Verdot, finally, the je ne sais quoi that will make Clos Apalta so special. Carmenère is the icon grape of Chile. Why is that? Because it was actually originated in Bordeaux, but it got wiped out with the phylloxera. Chile is phylloxera free, so the Carmenère survived. This is why my family came here. And Clos Apalta is actually based on Carmenère. We're from France. Cabernet Sauvignon is full in Bordeaux. It was amazing for us to actually find the original grapes, the mother of the Cabernet Sauvignon and the Merlot. What it brings to a wine is a unique depth, a unique smoothness to it, and a bit of spiciness, red pepper, a bit of dry figs, and this is why all the Chilean wines always use this characteristic Carmenère to bring a unique flavor to their wines.
En fait, faire du vin, pour moi, comme ça a été tout un cheminement, c'est mettre du plaisir en bouteille. C'est mettre tout le plaisir dans la bouteille, de manière qu'à l'autre bout du monde, quelqu'un puisse ouvrir la bouteille et partager ce plaisir et qu'il puisse retrouver tout l'amour qu'on a mis dans la bouteille.
Producing wine is a very humbling process. Every vintage is different. One vintage you have more rain, the other one you don't have enough rain. One vintage you have too much sun, the other one you don't have enough sun. You always depend on nature to give you the material you need to create a great wine. And so that's why, for me, the proudest moment is when I see people around the world opening a bottle of Clos Apalta and going, wow, when they drink it. Then I know that all our efforts was worth everything in the world.
Seña was a real dream project. We were visited by Bob Mondavi back in 1995. Bob was already an iconic figure, the leader of the Napa Valley, and when he came here, I was asked to be his driver. I took him around the country. And by the end of the trip, he told me, Eduardo, the terroir that you have here reminds me of the Napa Valley in the 1960s when they were not known. So he had in mind creating a project that could be resembling what he did with Opus One, and so he wanted to create a first growth from Chile, and that was how we created Seña together. The vision we had was really to create a Chilean wine. That was a pillar, to make a wine with personality, with Chilean terroir. And because of that, we always wanted to have a blend wine with Cabernet Sauvignon as a backbone and Carmenere, this uniquely Chilean grape variety, as a Chilean component, so that we could make a Bordeaux blend with a Chilean character.
My objective as a winemaker of Seña is really to continue the dream and the mission that Eduardo imposed when he created the joint venture with Mondavi, which was to have a signature wine, a wine that, and that's the name, Seña means signal or sign, in order to create a wine, an iconic wine from Chile that could be, for the first time, world-class wine and stand along with the world-class wines of the world. That's the mission of Seña, and it's a big mission.
And then we started looking for the property, for the place, finding this amazing property that has all the different terroirs where we can make this uniquely Chilean Bordeaux blend. So we found this site, this beautiful place, only 40 kilometers from the seaside, from the Pacific Ocean, where we have the cooling breezes that come from the coast all the way, and we have this amazing terroir where you have the gravel soil near the river, where we grow the Cabernet Sauvignon. We have more clay soil here on the hillside where we grow the Carmenere, and then different places with different proportions of clay and gravel where we play with Malbec, Cabernet Franc and Petit Verdot. The ultimate way of farming a wine that it will have a terroir character is biodynamics. Biodynamic farming is an holistic approach where is the utmost respect for your terroir. So that was the plan in using biodynamic farming in a holistic way. We designed the property with biodynamic corridors so that you can have the whole property in full balance.
We worked for 14 years in Seña, so he's very involved and it's a cherished project for him. So I respect that, of course, and we interact a lot together. We always trying to keep the spirit of Seña. So it's good to have an involved owner that is always taking care of keeping the spirit of his project.
Seña is about the art of blending. The property is planted roughly 50% Cabernet Sauvignon, then 20% Carmenere, another 20% Malbec, and then we play a little bit of Petit Verdot and Cabernet Franc.
Seña started from day one as a Bordeaux blend. Robert Mondavi was looking for more complexity and not only like Cabernet wine that was the common thing to do in Chile at the time. So he wanted to have a blend, but he gave with Eduardo the Chilean touch, including incorporating Carmenere from day one.
The key is really understanding what each component will add, and the Cabernet will be the backbone, the structure. The Malbec will give the chocolate fruit, very, very flowery, and the Carmenere will give more the spices. So then Petit Verdot, violets, and Cabernet Franc is fine-grained tannin. So it's really the art of blending in how you put everything in the right proportion, and of course it depends on every vintage. Once we created Seña, we had an additional challenge to get the recognition for our wine internationally. I had the idea of presenting Seña in a blind tasting, first in Berlin in 2004. The idea was to have as a benchmark the best wines of Bordeaux and Italy, and I had in mind that we should be in the company of these great wines. To everyone's surprise, Seña came first, came atop of Lafite, Margaux, the top classics. When you drink Seña, you should expect a wine of great harmony, great purity, great finesse and elegance that you can really enjoy at an early stage with food, or you can equally age for 10, 20 years. This is a wine equally for collectors. As a wine producer, it has really been my dream to create a wine from our Chilean land, from our terroir, that could get the recognition for Chile as a world-class wine producer. Sena has reached this goal, has reached this vision, and today we're very happy to see Sena being enjoyed by the world wine lovers amongst the great wines of the world.
In 2017, I rated 3 of the top wines of Chile 100 points, and the world changed. So I was tasting wines from 2015, and I tasted a wine like the Almaviva, and the 2015 was fabulous. And I was thinking, wow, this is like drinking Opus 1, like the 2013 Opus I gave 100 points. So I had that in my mind. I wrote down 100 question mark. Then I tasted the 2015 Seña, and I was like, wow, this has such depth and beauty and length. And I thought to myself, 100 points, question mark. And then by chance, I tasted the Clos Apalta, which comes out a year later. So this is from 2014. I tasted that wine, and I just had to give it 100 points. It was fabulous. So here I was with 3 wines with potential 100s. It was sort of scary for me. I was thinking, should I do that? Like, will people believe it? Can Chile really make 3 100-point wines released at the same time? And I thought to myself, again, worried, but I thought to myself, if I was in Bordeaux, if I was in Tuscany, if I was in Napa Valley, if I had these wines there, would I give 300 points? And that created the legends of Chile. And as some say, the first gross of Chile. I think what's most interesting now, after it became public knowledge of these 3 100-point wines, that it had the most influence in Asia. And that Asians were open to the idea that Chilean wines can be 100-point wines.
这个没想到，以前我们知道的是法国的呀、澳大利亚的呀、美国的酒啊，这次发现哇，原来智利也出这么好的美味的酒。这个智利酒3个100分，这个酒推到中国市场以后，我们喝了以后呢，觉得哎，原来世界葡萄酒这个大的家庭里面，又有新的国家出现了。
我觉得智利是一个严重被低估的一个市场，不仅仅是被我们消费者低估，其实我觉得以前也是被很多的这个品酒家、品酒师所低估和忽略的一个地方。
我觉得智利酒，智利酒呢，就是很早以前啊，确实在中国它主要就是以中低端的酒为主，但是这几年的智利的品质酒，在我们的公司里面的占比其实已经越来越高啊，就是刚才说的这几款酒，还有就是我们自己也带领一些其他的智利的高品质的一些品牌啊，所以这个整个的消费占比已经是越来越高，未来几年我觉得确实还会更高啊。
I believe Asian market has been working very well for Almaviva, basically because Asian consumers, they are very knowledgeable about wine and they already know what is good and what is bad.
Sharing a glass of Clos Apalta with Asian consumers is always a privilege. They are very sophisticated and very focused in the way they drink the wines, the way they want to understand the wine. And for them, it's not just about the moment. Of course, it's about the pleasure, but they want to understand, how did we do this? What was done? They really are truly and genuinely interested in the creation of the wine that gives them so much pleasure in this moment.
We come to Asia more and more frequently, and we see a growing appreciation for Seña. And I think it's because of Seña offers a wine of great harmony, great elegance, great finesse, which really goes very well with the Asian palate. It's a very sophisticated palate. They know what they like, and they found Seña as a wine of this unique character.
So if you look at the evolution of the market for the past 10 years, and you imagine that Chile slowly grew and now to become the #3 wine category in China, just behind France and Australia, that's a tremendous achievement. The Chinese wine market, even if it's a very important wine market in the world, is still young. You still have a lot of wine lovers, wine consumers who are eager to learn, discover some new wines. So I will just say, for Chilean wine producers, don't be shy. Come here, spend time, invest, and show also your wines, because definitely this is a market where you have your chances, and you have your chances also to sell your top wines here.
I believe that the success of Almaviva is very important, of course for us, but also for Chile, for our country, for all our colleagues that have been making a big effort for many, many years in producing great wines. And I'm totally sure that in the future, Chile will be one of the big players around the world.
We're so happy of the success of Clos Apalta, but what we're mostly proud of is that now we're paving the way for consumers around the world to enjoy and taste wines from Chile, to fall in love with this place, with these wines, as we did 25 years ago.
As a Chilean wine producer, it has brought me tremendous pride and happiness to be able to produce a wine that can be considered amongst the best of the world, and by doing so, we have brought recognition to Chile as a place where we can produce great wines. This is something that will last for generations for the wine producers of Chile, and this is the ultimate happiness to my life.
I have to tell you something about Chile and why I think it's such an amazing wine-producing country. And I think it's just the nature of Chile. There's a beauty and purity to the country, its landscape, its fauna, its air. There's an energy that gets transmitted into the wines. And this is what makes them so wonderful. In this day and age, with all the problems with pollution, from plastic to smog, in Chile you get the idea that it's just virginal, it's unruined, it's just perfect. I hope it stays that way, because the wines are so good.